All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and good morning-ish to those on the West Coast. Thank you for joining today on such short notice. My name is Chris, and happy to share with you a first look at eDocs. So everything you're going to look at today is all live code in our test environment. We're going to be pushing this to our production environment within about, we think, 7 to 14 days, let's call it. So very happy to share this with you. We have about enough material that it'll keep us under a half hour. So as you have questions and so forth, what we're going to do is we're going to be taking questions from you after we show you the product. So feel free to chat those in. So Lindsay and I will be handling the Q&A. Tim, many of you know Tim as well. He's joining us too. So feel free to ask anything that comes up. So here we go. What we're going to cover today is really an update on the mission with Liscio. We're going to go through the demo of the product. We'll talk about timing and pricing, and then we'll get into the Q&A. So short and sweet. So really the mission, and what's important about this is to see how the pieces are all coming together, right? So we start out with in-network messaging. They've always had task tracking in there, tasks and reminders and so forth. Then we provided the mobile app for firms, the mobile app for the clients. We added text messaging to that. There's a bunch of other things, obviously, I'm skipping over here in terms of internal notes and so forth. But what we wanted to do this year was to really sort of tie these pieces together. So we put out Liscio Vault for files. So you can share out, and your clients get documents into us more easily. You can share with multiple parties. Now we're introducing electronic documents and signatures. What's really important about this is it takes advantage of, and what you're going to see very clearly in the demonstration is, it takes advantage of using our tasks with our due dates, using Liscio Vault to make sure that the files are going someplace where people can find them later, right? And combining them with electronic signatures and so forth, so you can do more on a more integrated basis with fewer systems and a lower cost. So I think you'll see all these pieces really kind of come together in harmony today as we go through the demo. And we're going to be adding for you soon the print driver, which will make things even easier to get documents into Liscio, make them even easier to get them signed and so forth. So our pace is really good around very large features, much more to come over the coming weeks, months, quarters, and years. So what I'd like to do at this point is get you right in the product. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you the product here. What you should be able to see is this is Jane Client. We're going to work with Jane in this browser, and this is going to be us as a firm in this browser. So if you see my name down here, that's the firm side. If you see Jane, that's the client side. So what I want to do is let me go ahead and I'm going to create a new electronic document. I'll do a couple of these so you have a good sense of how this works. So number one, I'm going to click on Add New here, and I'll pick eDoc. This is a new option. When I pick that, I want to send something to Jane. There's Jane Client, and she's part of Axe Capital. So it feels like exactly what you're doing today when you're sending a message to Jane, right? But when you send an eDoc, it has a signer order if you want to have an order. It also has knowledge-based authentication, and I'll show you that in the next version of the document. You have an agreement title, like let's say this is for client onboarding. So Onboarding Form. Welcome to Liscio. I've attached ... right? And then please do the following. So for many of you who have used electronic signature kits before, what doesn't happen, or what tends to happen, is people tend to send an email saying, hey, I'm going to send you this thing, look for an email link later, right? So the communication is disjointed and separated from the document being signed. Not the case here. So I've picked my people, I've put my message in here, and then I'm going to be able to attach something from Liscio Vault, from a templates library, or from my computer. So let's use a templates library. Click on that. Here's the templates I have to choose from. I'm going to pick QuickBooks New Client Checklist. Prepare doc for signing. So what will happen at this point is you're going to see how we've embedded Adobe Sign into our product. So if you've used Adobe Sign before, you're going to recognize these authoring tools. And what's great about this is Adobe Sign has all the qualifications you need and we need to make sure everything is fully compliant with all the electronic signature standards out there. So in this case, and it's very robust, obviously. New client checklist is here. The forms, the form fields are all ready to go. In fact, if I double click on this, I can put in default value, Liscio Inc., right? I can pre-fill some of this for my client if I want to. I can add additional data fields, like if I want something super complex, such as a checkbox option, I can drop a checkbox, or maybe a drop down, that's more complicated, right? I'll drop that there, I'll delete the checkbox, I'll go ahead and format this field. So option 1 might be Chris, Tim, Lindsay, okay? And the default value will be Lindsay. So I can set everything up just like you would author any kind of professional electronic signature. So really, really easy. I want to have a signature field on here, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that in here as well. So again, it's all just drag and drop easy to get stuff in. If I like this setup, I can save this back to the template library. I'll go ahead and send this. So when I send this, now instead of sending an email, everything is still staying in the Liscio environment. So what you're going to see is Jane is going to get the notification here. They're going to get the email notification. Their smartwatch is going to buzz. Their smartphone is going to show a notification. They're going to see the document. So really, really easy. Second thing is, as a firm, instead of going to yet another solution, so instead of logging into a DocuSign or something like that to see what's happened, there's going to be an in progress area here in eDocs. So here's eDocs area, which shows you everything that's outstanding, everything's been completed, everything's been canceled, and all of your drafts. Okay, so you're staying in the same environment. So let me go over to Jane here. Jane can look at her tasks here, see her onboarding form, or you see it on her homepage. Please sign onboarding form, right? 1 minute ago. If she goes ahead and dives in here, she opens it up, she'll see the title, see our description, and then she'll see, click here to review and sign onboarding form. When she does that, and obviously this is a test environment, so what you're going to see is Adobe Sign test document sitting here. That will obviously not be in the final product, okay? That's just for this first look. She can pop in here. She can start to type in her phone number. Tab stops work. It's really, really easy, right? She can sit here and just bang, 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 bang out her onboarding form for you. Super simple. So it's task managed. It's easy to do. It's got these nice little, required field, next buttons, etc. So you can zip right through it. And then at the end, she clicks to sign, types in her name. Boom. Okay, and when she's done, she'll click to sign. And there it is. We get notified immediately that she has signed the agreement, okay? What's also nice about it is she doesn't know exactly what to do here. She might say something along the lines of, I think I did this right. Can you confirm? Okay. She'll add the comment, but she can talk to you on this task just like she can talk on a task in Liscio, okay? So off you go. We'll get that notice as well that she said something, and then when we're done, she'll just go ahead and mark it complete, okay? And that goes over for your review. So back to us as a firm. What'll happen is if I go to my inbox, I'm going to see, actually not my inbox, pardon, my homepage. I'm going to see that my tasks now have this please sign onboarding bit from Jane. If I open it up, I can see everything, right? I can see exactly what I sent her. I can see the signed document, and I can see all of the conversation, all of the history, all in one place. So it's really kind of fusing these things together. If we look at the document, we're going to see everything that she completed. There it all is. There's her signature. We're in good shape. So if I like it, I'm going to go ahead and mark it complete. Now, what's great about this is everything is getting filed automatically. So if I were to go to the file section of Listio, as a firm, we can see that Jane and I worked on this document. We can see if I click on it, it'll open the document. If I click on the task, it'll show us, it'll take us back to the task and again, show us all the history. You know, Jane marked it for review, I reviewed it, great, we're good there. Same thing on Jane's side. She goes to her files. There's that document we just did. There's that eDoc we just did today, okay? So everything gets automatically filed. So there's no more working in another solution, having to worry about dragging something over or, you know, where did we store it? Is it sitting in another silo somewhere? That's all that's addressed. It's all in one. So that's easy. Let me show you one more example because I know many of you do taxes and 8879s and knowledge-based authentication are important. So let me show you how that works. Add new, same process, right? Add new, eDoc to Jane. Okay. This time I'm going to choose the KBA bit. If I had multiple people, let me go ahead and put, oh, I have a Bob, I have a, who do I have in here? Okay, we'll do Bubba Gump then. So Jane and Bubba are going to sign this. You can have a signer order. Again, just kind of drag and drop which ones you want to go first. In this case, I want Jane to go first. Hit OK. And then what will happen is, please sign so we can get this on file. This will ask you to confirm your ID via a set of out-of-wallet questions, okay? So I'll do that. I'm gonna grab a template. A template in this case would be 8879. Prepare the doc for signing. And it's gonna call up a form 8879 for us. And the print driver is gonna be great because the print driver will allow you to print out something out of your tax software, which might have a lot of this filled out for you already, okay? Then what you wanna do is drag your signature field. I want this person to sign here, and then we'll go ahead and send it. Off we go. Okay, so that is now out in the wild. So that's in progress, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over to Jane, and when I go to Jane's homepage, she got this first, and this will ask you to confirm your ID, There's what I sent. We're gonna wipe out this text just in case you're seeing that. That won't be there in the final product. What's important about this part though is this. When I come out here, this is gonna go to LexisNexis, okay? And they're doing our out-of-wallet identity verification. This is required by the NIST and the IRS for certain forms such as the 8879. So if I were to type in my information here, and I'm gonna go ahead and pause my screen because you don't really need to know my last form, my social security. So pausing my screen, I'm gonna fill this out really quick. And when I do, okay, it's verifying my details. Okay, then it's gonna ask us questions. These are out-of-wallet questions that I need to answer correctly. And it's gonna ask me 4 questions. If I get them all right, then I'm through. But you can see here, this is the exact experience that your clients are gonna get. And it's pretty good. It's gonna tell them that the document requires ID verification. It's gonna ask them multiple choice questions in series to get them to answer them. If they get one wrong out of the first 4, it'll ask 2 more that they have to get right. Otherwise, they'll fail. If they fail, we'll immediately notify you that they failed, and the client will know that too. Okay, but in general, if I stop share here, these are pretty easy to answer. And I'm going to go ahead and answer my 4 questions really fast. Almost done. Okay, I just did 4 questions and I'm in. So that's how you get past the ID verification. I did mine in about, I guess it might have been 15 or 20 seconds, so not bad. Again, go ahead and start, fill out the document, off you go. This is a totally qualified IRS valid process, okay? So really easy. The thing I want you to know about this is, and what's really important here is, it's great for digital experience. If your clients don't want to do this, and I think if you go with a lot of other solutions, will give you an opportunity to have electronic documents signed this way. But let's say my wife doesn't want to do this, which is actually the case. What I would do is I would print everything out here on my printer. I would sign it. I'd have her sign it at the kitchen table. And then I take a picture of it using the Liscio app. And that's IRS qualified as well. So with Liscio, you're getting two different ways of getting data back from clients, at least two different ways. You can do it that way. We have engagement letters that are still in our product for free, et cetera. But we're giving you multiple options to work with clients, all of which can be successful. So that's the 8879 portion. Let me go ahead and take you back here and give you some more, kind of key points here. So our mission is to bring all this stuff together, right? And when we do that, it's much simpler for clients. They're going to have one login and one password. So you're not going to send them to a DocuSign and to a Dropbox and to email and maybe do stuff over, text messages, right? You're just going to send them one place. It's like, look, I'm going to talk to you here. I'll text message you there. I'll give you tasks there. I'll have you sign documents there. All your files are going to be there. You can see how all this is coming together. I just mentioned multiple signature options as well. You have the e-sign plus the knowledge-based authentication. And this is the wrong bullet point, but it should say you can print, sign, and photo your 8879s or other documents, and that's going to be great too. Okay. So I see some questions coming in, so that's great. We're going to get those in a sec. Let me get you into pricing really quick. So the key on this bit is we're not going to hit you with another subscription fee, and we're not going to add to your bill, to your monthly bill, okay? Just pay up front for what you want to use and only pay for what you need. We're going to keep all those. Let's say you buy a pack of 100 documents, use them anytime over the next several years, and off you go, okay? Our pricing, we think, is very attractive. If you have a small firm with very few, or a firm that just does very little electronically, just pay us $25 for 20 documents and use them as you go. You can buy them for a price break, 100 for 100, 500 for 450, or 1,000 for 800, okay? If you're going to do KBAs, again, we're paying Adobe sign. The money's going to go to Adobe, and the money's going to go to LexisNexis. LexisNexis charges us for out-of-wallet identification separately. So it's $2 per ID check. So if you have one person you're sending the eDoc to for an 8879, it's $2 plus the whatever the pricing is for that you bought here. And then if you have two spouses, let's say, on something, then it's $4 for that document because we have to do two identity verifications through LexisNexis. If they fail the KBA, we still have to pay LexisNexis because we hit their servers, they did their work, the client just didn't do it, okay? So I think a lot of firms are going to be fairly judicious. I think many of you have been down this road before, right? Where you've put out the 80 or used electronic 8879 process. It doesn't work great for everybody. So again, dual mode. If that's not how your clients want to work, have them go through the print, sign, and photo, okay? So that's the pricing. And then we're all yours for questions. So we've got plenty of time, 12 minutes left. So why don't we go to open it up? And I think Lindsay and Tim are going to help here with going through these. So let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the questions comes from Caitlin. She's asking if the KBA authorization works also for the 8879S, 8879C, and 8879P.
Our system's entirely agnostic. You can use it for any form, anything you want. The one thing we don't do is we're not really good at opining on, what the IRS will accept and whether or not they're going to accept for certain forms. We're following the NIST guidelines, but sometimes there's some exceptions on a per form basis. So we would ask you double check the IRS guidance on that particular form. We know what we're doing is good for 8879s. So. We're actually happy to do the research there and share it though. But we're not tax professionals. So I think you all are going to know a little bit better than I, and we can crowdsource the answers too if other people here know.
All right. Another question comes from Steven. He's asking for joint signatures like engagement letters and 8879s. Does each person need a Liscio login?
Yes, very important. That's a great question. Here's why. If you want to be in compliance, there are federal and state guidelines with regard to identity verification. So I think you all know this. Many people out there are using a single address for a whole family, a single email address. That would not be compliant, right? Because how would you or how would anybody have reasonable assurance that, let's say it's Jane and John Doe, if you send it to both of them at the same address, how would you have reasonable assurance that both Jane and John Doe saw it? You would not be in a good position, right? We want to, and Adobe and everyone wants to have you in a good position. So when you send it to John, that should be on a discrete email address. If you send it to Jane, that's a different discrete email address. Very, very important. Very important that you do that. Otherwise, it would not pass any of the e-sign regulatory requirements. Okay, so great question, Stephen. We know as well as you that many people are sharing those addresses. So we want to keep you as safe as possible on that. So please work with your clients. You can even help them create an email address if you have to, but definitely pay attention to that, everybody.
Yeah. Another question comes from Anna. She's asking when we should expect the eDocs in product.
ASAP. So what we're doing right now is the last piece we're doing is we've been testing this for a while. We're doing some final cleanup. Adobe also puts us through a security review. So you guys should all feel good about that, but they make sure that all of our practices and our software are going to keep you all safe. So we're going through that process with the team on Monday. We think it's probably 7 days from Monday. So 7 to 10 days is the window. So very soon. But everything you saw today is all working. It's all functioning. We're feeling really good about it. So very, very soon.
Great. Another question comes from Stephen, just a follow up to the idea of having maybe a husband and wife who don't have individual email addresses. He's asking, what should we do if only one person of the two has an email address?
You email in to say, look, create another one, right? So let's say it's in my family, we're the Farrells, right? So my mom and dad basically are doing this. They're kind of sharing another address. That says the Farrell family. We would say is like, okay, the Farrell family we attributed to my dad. And then we'd say, look, you're using Gmail or whatever. We're going to have them create another Gmail account for, in this case, my mom. She would do it and we'd register it. And whenever we send something, we say, hey, we're sending this to you, and put it in the notes field, right? I'm sending you this engagement letter. Both of you have to sign it. Please remind, my mom's name is Karen. Please remind Karen to log in and sign on her side too, okay? And that's a great way to go. My parents are both smartphone users, so I would also be inclined to and have my mom call Listio support to have us help her install the mobile app, log in using her new email address, and now everything's going to go straight to her phone. So you don't have to really log into her email address ever. She just goes to her Listio app on the phone, can sign the document right there. Couldn't be easier. So those are things we would recommend. And would certainly be appropriate for this e-signature environment we're in.
Great. Another question along those same lines, asking if the person is not capable of using email, what they should do then. That would typically be a printout, I would say, of an 8879 and have the other spouse actually sign it physically and then take a picture through the mobile app and upload it that way.
That's a great point. And I want to reinforce this because so we want to work however you all want to work, and we want you to be as successful as possible. And I think for many of you that means you're going to use digital signatures a lot, and I think there's a lot of digital purists out there. For me and my family, for a tax return, even though this is all available, my wife is not going to want to go through an 8879 knowledge-based authentication process. It's easier for me to print right here, take it to the kitchen table, have both of us sign it, and then use my phone, right, to take a picture of it. That's really, really good. There's nothing wrong with that experience. We were highly successful with it last year. So in our mind, you want to have options, right? I think if you think about a lot of portals out there, those portals will have electronic signatures, but if somebody isn't successful, and I think the KBA failure rate is something like 15%, 15% of your clients aren't able to get through it. If you use another portal, you're not gonna have a way to get around it. So what we're saying is the fail-safe is almost always, everybody's got a smartphone now, right? Is always to just print, sign, photo. But if they don't have a printer, then you have the e-sign, so it's the optionality. We want to give you options on how to do this. And we think you have you pretty well covered now.
All right. A few questions from Jason. He's asking if they have to sign the KBA in order or can one sign before the other? So a little bit about KBA order and signing.
Oh, like a husband-wife kind of thing, spouses, that order?
Sure.
Yeah, you can specify which order they go in or no order. It will send it out to both of them at the same time. So there's that little drag. You say signer order is a button we have in product. I'll show you again, and this is actually pretty cool. So, so the way this works is here. No, that's Jane. Pardon me. Let me zip that one out of the way. Ba-ba. eDoc. Okay, signing order is on. I can turn that on or off, and I can do Chris Farrell, and I can do Jane. And if it's off, then there's no signing order. If I turn it on, then you can actually pick who goes first just by swapping them around. Okay. If you don't have that, if you have that off, they'll just go to both of them at the same time. And actually, let me do that. I'm gonna go ahead and, okay. Maybe, what's nice about this is regardless of how you choose to do it, you're gonna get really good visibility in this, okay? So I wanna just push this thing out as fast. I'm gonna probably get some warnings, but I'm just gonna ignore them, okay? So what is going to happen here is in your eDoc section, or actually it's even in your task section. I go to task and take a look at my open tasks, please sign ASDF, right? If I take a look at this, if you open the eDoc itself, what you'll see is there's everything we asked them for. Okay. And if I drill into it, it'll show us signers too, right? Sent for signature, sent for signature. So you'll see exactly who has and hasn't signed it, okay? And then if you go into the task, you can always go in the task just like you do in Listio today, and you can message them saying, hey, you having a problem with this or whatever, and look at our reminders. So you'll have a really good visibility into what they've done. If you click on the task, it'll launch them into the task, and you say something like, hey, need help with this, okay? So again, all in the same system, all task managed, all audit trail, all that kind of stuff's all in here.
Awesome. Yeah, Jason mentioned that off is the way that they'll probably want to go, so it can go to both simultaneously. Another question from Jason. He's asking if KBA will work on the Listio app and on the mobile web.
Listio mobile phone app, yes. Mobile web, yes. The challenge is going to be rendering, right? How well is it going to render? So every device is different. You might have an iPhone 6, which is very different from an iPhone 11, very different from some smaller tablets. So be careful with that. Always push people to the app. But for something like this, where you saw the onboarding forms and that kind of thing, this is gonna. If you ever use DocuSign on a mobile phone, if you ever use Adobe Sign on a mobile phone, etc., we're gonna have the same limitations they do by and large. Okay, so in my opinion, the best way to get a client to do this is if it's a simple form, they're gonna be very successful on mobile. If your forms aren't designed very well, like let's say you have a super high density form, like an 8879, those government forms are going to be pretty hard to do in a really small form factor, okay? So bear in mind the source document. That's going to dictate a lot of how successful people will be on a mobile device.
All right. One more question from Jason. He's asking for clarity. Are KBA's $2 per ID check in addition to the price bundles we have for signatures?
That's exactly right. That money, that LexisNexis money goes out. If you've looked at those from other providers as well, I think SmartVault, DocuSign, they charge $3 per. So I think we're on the low end of the spectrum for all of that price wise. Okay, and if you're going to do a lot of KBAs, I'll see if we can negotiate a volume discount. Okay, so let us know if you want to do a bunch of KBAs. Just give us a shout, and we'll see what we can do. Okay.
All right. Just one more question that I got from Alan. He's asking how often the reminders go out if they have not responded.
Once a week.
Yep, every Monday, start of the week, if the task goes past due. So it's going to send them a push notification on their mobile app, letting them know that they have overdue tasks.
We'll actually start the week that it is due.
Oh, well, there we
Yeah.
go.
They'll say you have one task due this week. So give them a heads up early and then we continue to remind them. But then we're going to give you visibility. We don't want to be overly chatty because we don't want people turning off notifications, but that's where we're starting.
And then we just have one more question. This comes from Ryan. He's asking if we can do bulk actions with eDocs. He's thinking of 1040 engagement letters, bank verification, etc.
We've been so Ryan, the deal here is we've been looking at it, but we're not going to start with it. There's a lot of things about how electronic documents work that are going to cause a lot of potential issues. And let me give you an example. If you use, and we looked at all of them. We looked at HelloSign, DocuSign, Adobe Sign, everybody. If you do something like, let's say you have something that has a radio button, yes, no, or it has a drop-down field. And let's say it goes to me and Lindsay, right? You send it to two people. You do a bulk send to more than one person. It's really easy to get super upside down with it because if I get it before Lindsay and I click a radio button, I hit yes, and then Lindsay looks at it and says, no, actually, it's not the case. The whole document will fail, okay? And so we don't want to put you in a position where you're gonna have a lot of document failures out there. So, so the hope is, and we're not going to give up on this, but we have to put a lot of guardrails around this if we're going to do mass send, because effectively Adobe Sign, DocuSign, HelloSign, et cetera, are not built for the kinds of forms that a lot of you are pushing through to be handled in bulk. In fact, if you look at DocuSign, for example, you can send things in bulk, but it can really only go to one person. So anyway, so we got to put some guardrails around this. We're not going to do it right away. We're hopeful we'll save you enough time through the task management, the concurrent communication, and the file storage, et cetera, to save you enough time. But there is more work up front relative to if we could give you a mass send right away. So don't give up on us, but we're saying essentially not at this time.
Yeah, Ryan, one thing I did want to mention, and this goes to any of the other attendees, we do have bulk actions for engagement letters for you guys to send those in bulk. Those are still free through Liscio because they are hosted by Liscio. So if anyone is interested in an engagement letter crash course, if you guys want to learn more about that process, feel free to reach out to us at support@liscio.me, and I would be happy to walk you guys through it. And that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, everybody. As you know, we're always here at your service. Come to our website and chat us, or send us emails, or hit us in Liscio. We'd love to hear from you. Hope this works well for you. If you have any questions about any of this, we are here for you all the time. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.